Hear me out on this one. When Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut of Eleanor the Great was announced, during that time, or like literally right after, was when it seemed like Blake Lively really went in trying to take over It Ends With Us. Let me show you. Variety had exclusively made the announcement of Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut on February 23rd, 2024. Let's keep in mind that Justin Baldoni is an executive producer for Eleanor the Great as well. And around that same time, February 2024, was when Lively had requested through a producer to join Baldoni in the editing bay. That is not a common thing. Like, Blake Lively knows that usually does not happen. February 25th, 2024, Justin Baldoni sent this text to Blake, basically saying like he would love to get some of her input and go through it with her, but maybe like in a few weeks. But in the end, she got access to the editing bay. It was only supposed to be 2 days of access, but she ended up being in there for 11 days. End of February and March of 2024, Blake got her way. She was in the editing bay doing her thing. And then what comes after that? April and May of 2024, when Lively's threats to Sony, she had threatened Sony saying she would do none of the press if they basically didn't give her her way. And that is when they agreed to let her have her own cut of the film. A right that is exclusively reserved for directors, mind you. I just find it so interesting that after Scarlett's directorial debut was announced, when it really seemed like that's when Blake went for it. She's like, I need to take over this movie. And look, when I say Blake, guys, I mean Blake and Ryan. Like, of course he's with her, telling her probably like, yeah, this is what we should do. And by now we all know that Blake Lively bullied her way, threatened her way into the producer PGA credit that she received. Candace had mentioned how like Scarlett Johansson is the opposite of Blake Lively. She's an intelligent, strong person who has done amazing things on her own. Doesn't need someone else's name to like get somewhere. Honestly, guys, if you've listened to Blake's interviews, I mean, mind you, she didn't even read the book of a movie she was going to be a main star in. And sorry to say this, but just by listening to Blake during the press tour of It Ends With Us in her interviews, no, I don't think she sounds like the most intelligent person. So maybe there's just so much jealousy with Scarlett. I mean, like Scarlett and Blake, Scarlett and Ryan. And maybe that's what really gave Blake the push to be like, I'm going to take over this movie. And then even went further. Blake and Justin knew that Colleen Hoover would give them the rights to It Starts With Us if she had them, but she didn't have them. Justin Baldoni has the rights. So allegedly, the way to get them is by suing him for SH. And that's what they did. And it seems like that took them a while to finally figure out. Because Blake wants that directorial debut, and Ryan wants to give it to her, and he wants to control everything. Just a thought.